everyone. It's great to see so many of you joining us both online and in person for yet another Logisim event. And today we're very pleased to have with us our partners OpenText, and specifically Mr. George Hub, Regional Vice President Asia Pacific for Business Ecosystems at OpenText, who will kick us off today.
First of all, thank you for those who are here with us today. I really do appreciate the opportunity to actually meet face to face, and thank you to all who are logged in remotely. Hopefully, at some point in the future, we can get you all in so we can have an event face to face. The topic that we're going to discuss today, is overcoming the data gap to improve supply chain margins and efficiencies. And the conversation that we're going to have. Sorry, there we go. Is that better? Okay. The conversation we're going to have today during the panel discussion, obviously the discussion we have with you, will be focused on how do we improve supply chain margins and efficiencies for organizations. We'll try to make it as relevant as possible to logistics, but this is really about how it impacts the whole business. So when you walk away from this discussion, it hopefully gives you some thoughts about how improvements can be had across the total value chain that an organization currently is moving towards or already is in. All right, so today the constant topic of boardrooms is supply chain disruption. So whether it's Brexit, or whether it's COVID, or whether it's the unfortunate war that we find ourselves viewing from afar, whether it's the issues around getting ports, and the lack of space, or the price of containers and how that's impacting supply chain, it's always in the news, and it's very relevant today. What we believe is one of the biggest contributing factors of this disruption to supply chain is the gap in data. All right. So the conversations that we've had in the organizations that we work with, this gap in data doesn't mean that data isn't being created. It's being created. But what it means is the data being shared appropriately between the various business units within an organization and with partners, both upstream and downstream partners, to ensure that everybody is got the information they need to make the right decision at the right time to overcome or manage disruptions to have a limited effect on the business. Right? So what we're going to address today is the data gap, right? And how that can help to improve margins and drive efficiencies. Okay, just to give you an understanding about what data gap means, we're going to run this little video, which I don't think relates to logistics, but relates to how information can change along a linear line of essentially like supply chain, or in this case, people. So I can play it from here. That's good.
Did you ask Jeremy to pass the popcorn?
No.
But why?
Wait, he's like way over there.
Just pass it on.
Dude, last time we did a whisper train, everyone got sucked into a pyramid scheme.
Please. I'm so hungry.
Fine. Matt wants the popcorn.
Matt bought the popcorn. Matt bought a newborn.
Matt bought a baby Bjorn.
Adam has bad breath.
Adam has it bad for Beth.
Wait, who's Beth?
I am.
I think I have a chance with Beth.
What did Aaron say?
I wasn't paying attention.
Ask him again.
But what did you say? I think I'm gonna ask out Beth.
Well?
I forgot what he said.
Jason's an idiot.
Jason's an idiot. I thought you were sitting over there.
I was, but I love the juicy gossip. Jason's a what?
He's an idiot.
I knew that. Matt wants the popcorn.
Oh, Matt wants the popcorn.
No.
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 Oh, no.
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 Guys, I can hear all of you.
He said no.
So as we mentioned, the supply chain has evolved to being more around the digital value right, of information that's being transported or used within the organization. So we're moving from this linear type of approach, and many organizations don't work like this anymore. Nobody works like this anymore. Everyone works like this today, where there is absolute connectivity in terms of relationship, in terms of information sharing from every aspect of the business. And essentially what OpenText does is we help organizations create that digital core, right? A place where information is orchestrated, a place where information is managed and presented so that everybody who is actually involved in the delivery of a service or a solution can receive the information they need from any part of the business. Okay, so essentially there are 4 key areas we want to discuss. Oh, sorry. The evolution of the digital core, which we'll touch upon, technologies today that support the digital core, where OpenText plays. So again, just to give you context in terms of what we do, and then we'll talk about future innovations and how that's going to influence the way supply chains work today. All right, so I'm going to move this along. So we probably need to catch up on a little bit on time, right? Yeah. Okay. So essentially today, in terms of the evolution, sorry, don't get too far. In terms of the evolution of the digital core, how has it come about? The first element is obviously information exchange, right? And information exchange has been around for a while, and it's about ensuring information is being shared between critical partners. Then we talk about extending the information, the electronic information exchange, because today most of us have got electronic exchange, but there's still a percentage or an element of the way that you work today that still requires some form of non-digital engagement. Then we move into a deeper integration of the business, right? So how do we get different parts of the business talking together more autonomously? And then obviously driving deeper automation and intelligence into the network. So when you think of it that way, in terms of the solutions that are available to create this digital core. So we talk about electronic data interchange. So this is direct EDI integration, which all of you will be aware of. The VAN networks, electronic invoicing, these things are all in place today. People and organizations are leveraging them to create as much efficiency in the way people work. Then we go into extending the digitization. So this is about how do we reach out to the long tail, to those that we want to work with, but we're not digitized, we're not automated in the way information is being shared. So that's done through the emergence of things like partner portals, document digitization. So for those who can't interact with you electronically, enable them to be able to send faxes or emails or PDFs, but being able to convert those into a digital format that they can be consumed within your business systems. And then you've got obviously smart forms, which are built within organizations to interpret data, non-digital data that comes in. We revolve or we move around to deeper integration. So this is about complex integration, collaboration, and sharing of data. And that's where a lot of organizations are today. So what you're finding is organizations realize or have realized that that they do have a lot of silos of information within their business. And the question is, how can I ensure, or how can I enable these silos of information to be shared? So how can I create integration between my warehouse management platform and my financial platform? How can I get better integration from my asset management applications and my operations applications? How can I get better integration of those systems so that they share information seamlessly? But importantly, how does it help me make my decisions, right, based on the information I'm retrieving from applications that traditionally I haven't had easy access to, right? So that falls into that kind of space, and that's what's occurring. Then we go into deeper automation. So this is about intelligent process automation, analytics, leveraging the now readily available data and creating creating tools or interfaces that enable you to visibly see data more quickly and interpret the data more quickly to be able to make decisions to address disruptions that might be occurring in the supply chain. And then we move, and then essentially this cycle, we see this cycle continuously to evolve as new technologies moving, new ways of working. It'll change the way that we work and think. So OpenText, we are a digital core. That's what we do as a business. OpenText's trading grid, which you see in the center, essentially allows for connect once, connect to any. So by connecting an organization connecting into OpenText's trading grid, it gives you the ability to connect to any application or any trading partner. Now, the advantage of having all that information sitting in the single core is then it makes it so much easier for us to orchestrate the data from a point A to point B. Right? So whether you are an organization in terms of your ERP, CRMs, warehouse management, accounting, IT service management, et cetera, all these applications, if you're sitting in the operations side or supply chain or procurement or finance, at some stage you may need to access information from these applications, right? Today, to do that often isn't simple. It requires manual intervention. Can you generate a report for me? You got to export, generate a report and then export it into another application where someone can manipulate the data and generate a report. But wouldn't it be fantastic for the person in finance to be able to create a report that they can generate at a drop of a hat, right? To give them the information they need, right? And then from the other side, it's about how do you bring your external partners closer towards you and integrate in the way that you work. So if you're a parts provider, wouldn't it be fantastic for you to have visibility into your customers' inventory management platform, right? So you can see when stocks are low. So you can start planning that when you get, if you see that they're down to 20%, and that's a trigger for more parts to be provided. So you're part of now the value chain, right? A much more integrated approach in the way that you work versus now where you're waiting for that email or that phone call to say, I need you to trigger some parts production, right? So this is about creating a close relationship, and logistics partners also having greater visibility in terms of the ordering system and the locations of where the orders are going. So that creates an opportunity for you to start pre-planning, right, in anticipation of what's coming. So this is what we talk about when we talk about value, a value network as opposed to supply chain, right? Moving towards that kind of world. I'm afraid to press the button. Okay. All right. So let's talk about future innovations, right? In terms of what are the things that are going to come down the track. So whether it's with OpenText or just in general in the industry from a technology perspective. Okay. So where we are today is about integration, as I mentioned before, and that's being driven by a move to cloud. A lot of organizations today have got on-prem applications, and they're moving to best of breed, as you'd say, into the cloud environment. Now, some organizations are doing it by a lift and shift. Some organizations are doing it by bits and pieces based on what their needs are. One of the challenging elements of doing that is how do I ensure my current integrations are moved to the new environment, and how do I implement new integrations that can make that happen? Expertise, resources, conflicting projects, all of these have a big play in terms of organizations' actual real ability to deliver that proper integration within an organization's applications and business. Self-service integration, technology is becoming more readily available where organizations can establish those connections themselves. They don't need to bring experts in to actually create the integration between applications. Then we move into things like, we'll see more and more and hear more and more about ethical supply chain or ethical sourcing. We recently did a survey around Asia Pacific, which identified that we're talking 50, 60, 70%, depending on which region you are, of consumers are actually very interested in terms of where their products are being made or sourced from, right? So if you're a CEO And CEOs are very conscious today about being ethical, right? Their social responsibility protocols or policies really push them to ensuring that they are being ethical, not just in the way they work internally, but in terms of their sourcing and the partners they work with. So this is another area that we're going to see a lot of interest, a lot of investment in terms of technology and tools that will enable organizations to be able to proclaim and easily be audited and be certified as being ethical in the way that they manage their supply chain. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around for a while, so it's not something new, but using it in the supply chain processes to actually enhance and create a value network of information, right? I think is going to become more prevalent. It's going to become more accessible. You're going to see more of that. And one of the things that we're doing is we're infusing our Magellan platform, which is our artificial intelligence platform, into Trading Grid. So what that means is you, as a potential user of Trading Grid, can start thinking about what are the business rules, what are the challenges that you want to address, and we as an organization can help write the algorithms that interpret the data and present it to you in the answers that you're looking for. Ecosystem control tower, and I'll give you an example of that in a moment, and that is essentially about having proper visibility across the business and all the data that's being generated across the business. And then we move beyond that, we move into the hyperscaler provisioning phase, and what you're going to see there is SaaS providers are going to start looking at how can we take or create a branch of a SaaS platform and actually place it in a cloud environment of your choice, right? Which gives you more flexibility in terms of customization, all right, and ownership, all right, versus where you have today where it's all centralized and controlled by one party, such as OpenText. And then autonomous capabilities. So this is about how you start feeding the information back into your robotics, feeding the information back into your planning, automated planning processes to ensure that your business is running essentially hands-free as possible. All right. So these are the steps that we see happening in the technology space that will enable that. So I think let me give you a use case of what a value network may look like. Okay, so in this particular case, this customer's built a control tower. And at the top, you'll see that within a control tower, there's two particular views. There's an internal view, and there's also an external view in terms of users, of the information. The control tower is governed by having high level of security. So visibility of data needs to be limited to those who only need to see it. And data which they don't need to see should be blocked or they have no visibility of it. And that's done through identity access management, which is again has been around. But the difference between OpenText and other organizations is we actually provide that as part of our Trading Grid environment. Right, so we provide the full experience. So identity access management only allows you to see what you need to see and protects everything else. And then from that, as you can see here, everything is networked together. Everyone is sharing, everyone is seeing information that's feeding in from various parts of the business. So whether it is artificial intelligence in terms of interpreting the data, data harmonization in terms of looking for particular KPIs for your business to react to changes or KPIs being missed, orchestration of data, the workflows, both internal and external, information coming into the business, where does it need to go, what format does it need to be in, how can I reduce or eliminate any form of manual entry. Then you go to shipping visibility, IoT, as we all know, in the logistics space or in any supply chain space, IoT is becoming more and more prevalent. Right? And it's great to have IoT to show you where it is, right? But you need to be able to interpret that data for those in finance, for those in planning, for those in ops, for those in warehousing. They need to be able to interpret data that comes back from the IoT devices that is useful for them, not just to say it's left, it's right. And then we talk about community management. So it is about collaboration. And access to information enables collaboration. It's not collaboration if you send somebody a document, they review it, they read it, they send it back. Collaboration is truly real time. So they're seeing data that helps them to interpret the information you're sharing with them. And you're seeing data the other way as well. So it enables you to have a truly proper collaborative experience. And then feeding into all of this, and it was represented on the previous slide, is we have all of the internal and external feeds feeding into that. One of the, when we talk about weather and travel, etc., there's actually a use case where an organization feeds in using artificial intelligence, feeds in information about weather and traffic, right, into their planning process. So what they do is they monitor what's happening on the traffic front and on the weather front, and if they need to make adjustments in terms of their plans on delivery or their plans on moving product from or loading product and moving from one place to the next, they factor that information in, and it's automated, right? So it generates, and with artificial intelligence and the control tower, you're able to generate red flags, right? And give them that ability to quickly make an assessment about what's the way and what's the best way forward. So, and we talk about future supply chains. So future supply chains or value networks need to cater for new information that's going to feed into that platform. So whether it's information coming from drones, right? Whereas previously it would be trucks or delivery guys. Now it's going to be drones. Information from wearables, right? To feed in from your digital experience or the consumer experience and what they're looking at, what they're experiencing, and feeding that into their planning processes for what products we're going to create or what things that we need to ensure in the stores. IoT, we spoke about blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, right? Being again the automation process, right? Being able to quickly, dynamically change what's happening in the production line to cater for changes what's happening outside, and obviously 3D printing, right? In regards to organizations moving into the 3D or using more 3D printing processes, and again, the information that feeds into it to tell it what it needs to print, right? And when it needs to print it. So all of these changes that are coming, that are here and are evolving, they're all going to also feed into that digital core I spoke about, right? And so that's why it's important that you create a value network, a data value network, because it actually enhances the way that you work and prepares you for the future.